on another episode of I'm Actually Dumb. Not that I recorded a whole video with a pillowcase over the window, really thinking that that was gonna cover it. And I recorded a whole video with that in the background. Just ratchet. Hey guys! So this is like literally my 5th time trying to record this video because I feel like I'm just all over the place. So I'm trying to be as cohesive as possible now that I've gotten this out of my system multiple times. I've told this multiple times. Maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. But anyway, this is going to be the follow-up to my last story time. I had mentioned about Stacy and why I don't do her hair is a whole other story, which this is a story because I'm telling you that video would have been like 30 hours long. So this is the story about why I don't do Stacy's hair. And this is just going to be a very universal lesson as to why you just don't need to get involved with people. I like my channel to be as transparent and as just realistic as possible. I would love to say that I am just a perfect human and that I know everything and I got everything figured out, but unfortunately I don't, okay? So my channel is for all the young little things out there or the old little things out there, whatever you are. I don't discriminate. Who are in the either freelancing industry, the service industry, wherever you are, where really you don't have guidance, you don't have mentors, you're just on your road to figuring it out, just like me. We can just chit chat and we can just sit and talk about our experiences. That is what I figured out my channel is. It is just a channel of experiences. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna come off extremely stupid in this story. I know it's my fault. I know I should have done things completely differently, but it is what it is. Can't take it back now, okay? So the reason I say that is because I feel like a lot of times when you're in the service industry of like freelancing and stuff, you take a lot of things that you probably shouldn't, and you deal with a lot of things and do a lot of things that you probably shouldn't, just because either you're like me, you're just naive and you just don't think, or you know, you're trying to like build your clientele, you're trying to like get your name out there, you're trying to build a reputation. So obviously you don't want to do anything that's off-putting, and you're going to deal with things that you shouldn't because you just want clientele, or you want that coin, or whatever it is that it is, you know. So this is just one of those stories where I should have, number one, seen all the red flags, number two, never got involved, and number three, I should have just shut up. That's what I should have done. So let's get into it. Now, like I said in my last video, Stacy was a coworker of mine. That's where I met her, and she had tried to get her hair done with me, and I kind of like turned her down. And then now that I was taking actual clients and I was, you know, trying to build that up, I started doing her hair. Now, the first time I did her hair, it was no problem. Like, I went to her house, everything was cool, fine, chilling. The second time I did her hair, I had told her, like, we had gotten off at the same time, and I had told her, like, as soon as I got off work, so like, let's say I got off at 3, I told her that I would be at her house at 3:30 because I had to stop at Walmart. So when I told her that, she was like, oh, are you going to Walmart? Can I come with you? Me, I'm just the type of person, I need to just stop thinking people are like me. I need to get that out of my head. And to be honest, I just need to be rude. I need to be way more rude to people. So I was just like, in my head, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Walmart anyway, and I'm going to go to your house anyway. So it's just, you know, 2 stops. You have to go to Walmart. I have to go to Walmart. I'm going to end up at your house. So whatever. So I was like, yeah, sure, you can come with me. So literally we go together to Walmart, then we go to her house. I do her hair, and as I'm doing her hair, she's basically explaining like her situation, telling me about her life, getting a little bit more personal with me, telling me about how she lives with Deborah, how she doesn't like living with Deborah, she doesn't really like her living situation, and she has a daughter who also lives here. Mind you, this lady is old enough to be my mom, and she has a daughter that is my age. A daughter that is my age who lives here. By the way, that is a very key component to this story. So basically, she was just telling me that, and I had, did her hair, everything was fine. So now we kind of got a little bit more personal just because we took our relationship outside of work. So basically, instead of it just being a work relationship, now it's a little bit more personal because now we're seeing each other outside of work, even though it should have been strictly professional because it's still a service. Like, we're not getting drinks or anything. It should have been kept that way, but I'm telling you, put a sign on my forehead, this is stupid. So now that we have a little bit more of a personal relationship at work, we are talking, like, because before it was just like hi and bye type of thing. I would see her, she would see me, we would just walk past each other. It wasn't anything crazy. But now, like, when we see each other, we stop, we talk a little bit, like, hey, how's your day going? I like your hair, I like your clothes. Oh, where'd you get this? Oh, I got it at Target, got it at TJ Maxx. We're talking a little bit more personal. It's no longer like, hi, how are you? Great, bye, So it starts getting a little bit more like that. She asked me to do her hair again, and so we scheduled an appointment. I do her hair. While I'm doing her hair, she is now telling me that she wants to move, that she is looking for apartments, she's looking for other places to live because she no longer wants to live with Deborah. She's over it, they fight a lot and it's just too much, which I understood because their dynamic is completely different. Like, Stacy was very quiet, very reserved, very shy. Deborah is so outgoing, so in your face, so outspoken. So I understood that, but like I said, I don't say anything. I never input my opinion on anybody's lives. Like, if you are not my friend, you are not my family, and I don't know you like that, I am never gonna put my opinion out, okay? So I was just like listening to her venting pretty much. So she was telling me about her living situation, how she didn't like it, and the whole thing with Deborah and blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, oh, that's crazy, like, whatever. And she was asking me if, like, I knew places in Miami. And I wasn't saying that I knew places to live. I was just telling her places I like to go, like restaurants. I was just telling her, like, oh yeah, like on the weekends I like to go to Wynwood because they have a lot of things over there and they have food trucks over here. That's kind of what I was trying to say. Like I said, I'm an idiot, so I don't really read cues like that. So I was just telling her about like different spots in Miami that I like to go to. And she was like, oh yeah, like, would you live there or whatever? And I was like, well, eventually I would like, of course I would love to live in a nice condo in Miami and downtown and, have like a beachfront property, like duh. So I was just talking like that, like an idiot. And so she just kept talking about like apartments and stuff. I didn't really entertain that conversation. I was just talking about things I like to do, stuff like that. So whatever, we finished the appointment. Now we are at work. So she comes up to my desk and she was like, hey, you know how I was telling you, like, I've been looking for apartments or whatever. Do you like know anything? And like I said again, I was like, I don't know anything because I didn't live where we worked. We worked like about like 30 minutes away from where I lived. So she was basically telling me like, oh, do you know anything around this area? And I was like, I don't know anything about this area. Like, I don't know, like, you would just have to Google it. My biggest mistake was Googling for her. We'll say that right now. I should have never, ever fixed my hands to type in anything into Google because we were at my work computer. And so I was bored at work and she was just telling me. So I just Googled like apartments near me. And I was just showing her, I was like, oh, they have this. Like, to me, it was very casual conversation. In hindsight, looking at it now, I'm like, you should have never did that, girl. Like, that was your first problem. So I was just like, oh, like, all you have to do is Google it. All I was trying to explain was like, oh, I don't know, but like, you can Google it. Just kind of giving an example, like, just Google apartments near me and this will pop up and you're good to go. That was my mindset. So she was just like, oh, okay, like, cool, whatever. Later on in the week, she sends me a text message basically asking me if my parents had an extra room, like if my parents were like, She didn't ask if she could rent a room from my parents' house, but she was just asking if my parents would rent a room. And I was just like, no, like my house is really small. And to me, that was like, that should have been like, bing, 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 stop talking to this lady. And I was just like, no, like my parents are not like, they don't do that. Like, so sorry, but no, ma'am, like, no. And so after that, I just kind of took a red flag to that. And I was just like, yeah, I need to stop talking to this lady. So I eventually like kind of distanced myself from her. I didn't do it like very obviously. I was just like, let me, because now I feel like you think we're a lot closer than what we are. Personally, me, I would never ask anybody that. Like, I don't know you like that. We don't know each other. Like, I would have never asked that. And so it just kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable that she would even ask. So I just started distancing myself from her because I was just like, no, ma'am. Also, like I mentioned, this girl has a daughter who lives here. So I was confused about like, why would you want to live with a random person that you don't even know? You don't know who I am. You don't know the lifestyle I live. Like, I could be such a two-faced person at work, like, and live something completely differently. Obviously, and also she didn't even know where I lived. So to me, it just was like weird. So I was just like, no. So I started like slowly not really talking to her, not really like doing that. This is where I really messed up, like so bad. So one day I got off work. We got off work sometimes we got off at the same time. So I was headed to the elevator, and she was headed to the elevator. And she was like, oh, are you off? And I was like, yeah, thank God, like I'm finally off today, like, or I'm off for the rest of the day. I'm just gonna go home and like chill. And she was like, oh, you're just going home? And I was like, yeah, not thinking anything of it. This is why you don't answer people's questions. This is why you lie, say you're always busy. You're on, I like at this point, the next job, I don't plan on getting a job like this ever again, but the next job I do have, if I do get one, I'm gonna tell people I have a child and every day I have to pick them up from daycare. So don't ask me for anything. So she goes and she was like, oh, well, do you mind giving me a ride home? I was just kind of put on the spot because I just said I don't have anything to do. I just said all I was doing was going home. So I was just in an uncomfortable situation. I don't care what anybody says. We have all been there, whether you want to sit here and act like you haven't. We've all been there. So I was just like, ugh. Which her house was like, it wasn't far away and it wasn't like that inconvenient, but it was just like, why did you ask me to take you home? Like, why? So whatever, I was just like, okay, yeah, cool. I go ahead and I take her home. That was the extent of that, right? So I took her home that one day, and then we didn't text, like we didn't hang out. Like it wasn't like me and her texted like every day or anything like that. That was not the relationship. We were cool at work, and I did her hair, you know? So then she asked me again if I could do her hair. So I was like, yeah, okay. She was off that day, and she tells me that she wants me to do her hair. This is actually the day that I met Deborah. That's when the whole Deborah thing, when I actually met her. This was the day. So I'm doing her hair, and then she's basically telling me that she's just like over the whole situation. Like, you know, she's just like wants to get away. She's over it, yada, 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 that she wants to look at apartments and things like that. And I was just like, oh, like, that's crazy, whatever. I probably just shouldn't have done her hair anymore, to be honest. But like I said, I was just an idiot. So I was just like, oh, you know. And then she had brought up her daughter. She was basically saying that, like, yeah, her daughter came to see her that day and blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm just like, okay, you don't want to, like, be here, this, that, and the third. You have all these problems. Like, why don't you just, like, have your daughter help you? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, I wouldn't because she seemed close to her daughter. Like, they didn't seem to have, like, you know, a strange relationship or something. Like, the way she spoke about her daughter was like they talked all the time, they were chilling all the time. So I'm just like, okay, if you have like a good relationship with your daughter, like, why doesn't your daughter help you? You know? And you're gonna see why I have that attitude. So, okay, fine. She was just telling me that, whatever. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to get in depth. I didn't want anything to do with it because I'm like, if I even entertain this conversation, you already asked me to like live in my house kind of, and if like see if my parents would rent you a room. That already kind of like felt weird to me. So I was just like, yeah, girl, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm mute. I'm just here to do your hair, get my money so I can dip. So then I go ahead, I finished her hair, I left, I dipped, and everything was good to go. She was just like, you know, venting. The whole time she was like venting to me, and I feel like she was kind of like fishing for me to be like, oh, if you need something, if you want something, you know, this, that, and the third. She, you know, I don't know. So there was a day that I was out with my boo, chilling, okay? No lie to y'all, I think it was either like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I get a text, well, I get a phone call from her that I didn't pick up, obviously. Then I get a text message from her asking if I was doing something, if I was busy, and I was like, yeah, what's up? Like, I'm with my boyfriend, like, what's up or whatever. And she basically asked me for a ride. She was just like, oh, I can't deal with Deborah. Like, I can't be in this house anymore. Like, I really need to go. I really need to leave. I just wanted to know if you could give me a ride. And I'm just like, ma'am, no. Like, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to just like, you want to be a freelancer, so like this is where like just the mess comes in, where I just get so frustrated because I'm just like, obviously I have to give you my phone number. I have to give people my phone number because like that's my line of communication. Now I'm gonna get a Google number. I'm getting a fake number, okay? So that way I have people only knowing that number when you want to get like appointments and stuff, and that way I don't have to deal with this stuff. Like, this is so crazy, but I'm just like, I would never in my life ask my hairstylist for a ride. Like, when I tell y'all, yes, I take full accountability for giving her a ride and just like talking to her, I guess, giving her any type of insinuation that like I don't know. But then again, I'm just like, we never went out. We never got lunch. I never gave you any indication that I was your friend. And that sounds really bad, and I know it does, but it's just like, I never, like, no, like, ma'am, why would you, 11 o'clock at night, you don't live next to me, like, nowhere near me. The only relationship I have with you is that I do your hair. I don't have any other relationship with you. You have a daughter who has a car, who lives in this area, in your area. Why are you calling a 22-year-old girl to come pick you up from your house when you are old enough to be my mother? You have a daughter, and we are not even close. We are not even friends. It was just like, ever since then, I did not want to do her hair. I do not, like, after that, actually, I think she got mad at me because I didn't do it. And I was just like, no, sorry, I can't. Like, by the way, I was nowhere near her. Like, I was I was somewhere in North Miami, girl. Like, I'm nowhere near you. Even if I wanted to give her a ride, like, I was not close to you, girl. But I'm just like, and then like I show my boyfriend and he's like, that's your problem. You're too nice to people. You're way too nice to people. And that is 100% my problem. I am too nice to people. I give people, I guess, the vibes that I'm just like, I don't know, like, But it is just so frustrating, and ever since then I just did not do her hair. Also because I'm like, the whole Deborah thing like really just set it off. But then also it's like, ma'am, why do people put other people in such uncomfortable situations that you just don't want anything to do with them? Like, that is what happened with Stacey. I kind of drew my line with Deborah and Stacey. They were just like my number one like examples of, I need to stop being too nice. I don't need to give people my number. I don't need to deal with stuff like this. Like, so if anybody else can learn anything from me, you do have to be a little rude, because talking about it now even makes me just like, girl, why did you even, if I would have known, because all the signs were there. It's just like, you did that wrong. Nope, you shouldn't have done that. No, you shouldn't have told her that. Nope. No. And that is why it's so funny, because one of the coworkers that I used to work with, that I do her hair now, she was always like, yeah, you seem really like cold when you were at work. Like, you never told anybody anything about you. You never talked about yourself. Like, and I'm just like, I did that because I wanted to prevent all this stuff, and look at how it still happened to me. Like, even when I thought I was doing a good job at preventing it, there's always somebody that slips through the cracks. I got caught slipping bad. So yeah, don't be like me, okay? Do not be like me at all. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Be smart, make good choices, and don't give out your phone number, and don't tell people that you have a car, okay? Yeah. Anyway, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.